I'm so excited. I love to read. When I was a little kid and I got in trouble, the thing that I wasn't allowed to do was read. Like I would literally, my mom would be like, you're allowed to read the Bible and nothing else. So I love reading so much. And I specifically love reading about entrepreneurship. I've learned so much from books, and it always amazes me that we can buy a book for like $10 and learn so much. Like I'm learning in one of the books, literally how to take my company from 7 to 8 figures from one book. It's insane. So I'm excited to share my top 10 favorites. And then I'm also gonna share like 3 books that I think are kind of a waste of time. So this book, as you can see, I'm literally in the middle of rereading it. I've highlighted it, I've got pen, I've got like notes of notes, just so much. It's basically Ready, Fire, Aim. And what it is the coolest concept for a book, I think, ever. You basically are like, okay, what income level is your business at right now? So if your business isn't at like $1 million yet, you would read the first section. My business is already at $1 million. So I haven't even read the first section. I'm only reading like the stage 2, which how to get a 7-figure company to an 8-figure company, right? From 1 million to 10 million. This page here, like this section right here, identified a major issue in our business, literally not even a full page, but it helped me understand one of the reasons why I wasn't making as much money as I could be making. Literally just this section here to this section here. It's by Michael Masterson. It's amazing. Amazing book. I wish I read this book 2 years ago. This one I read at the beginning of my entrepreneur journey, and I come back to it a lot. It's The Abundance Effect, how to shift from a life of scarcity to a life of abundance. What you don't realize when you're in a life of scarcity is that you are in a life of scarcity because it's so normalized. So you have to learn, how do I create this linchpin, or how do I leverage this linchpin between where I'm at now and where I want to go? And this book helps you do that. You'll learn how to achieve the ideal mindset, create an authentic and personal business relationships, develop a vision, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's like really cheesy copy on the back here. The actual book itself is really, really good. I come back to this a lot. It's just a really good book. It's also good for like having abundance in like your relationships as well. Highly recommend it. Next one, this is for more of my higher level entrepreneurs. Maybe you're making some money in your business, but again, you're looking to scale. This one walks you through just a lot of issues that 6 and even 7-figure businesses run through. So it's a high level book. You probably don't need to read this book if you're just getting started. You just need to get clients and make some money. But it's a really good book. It's a lot of like systems and structure and processes and whatnot. So highly recommend. It's a great book. I just recently read this book. It's called The Possibility Mom. I kind of think it's a little bit of a cheesy title, but the message of the book is really important, especially for those of us who are the first, at least so for me, I'm the first woman in my family to like work. Most of the people in my family, women in my family are, stay-at-home moms, which obviously there's stay-at-home moms are amazing, but there's nobody in my family to model, like, what is it like to work and to be a mom? So this one basically says like how to be a great mom and pursue your dreams at the same time. And there's a truth to the title, The Possibility Mom, because it's basically like, hey, this is very possible. You can crush both and feel good about it. So I love this book. It's a quick read, loved it. Super relevant to anybody that has kids, I think. I've recommended this book, I feel like 100 times, probably 300. A lot of you guys have read this book upon my recommendation. I should have had an affiliate code with this guy. Dollars flow to me easily. If you feel like you don't understand manifesting, if you don't understand the law of attraction, if you don't understand how that all works, this is the book that breaks it down like you're in kindergarten. It's 103 pages and it's just, every page is so good. So highly recommend this book. This one is from one of my mentors, super controversial guy. Some people love him, some people hate him. I got out of debt because of Dave Ramsey, and I appreciate that he and I have similar audiences in the sense that we're working with like your typical average person who wants more for their life. So I really look up to him as a business leader. I think there's some problems with him. I don't think anybody's perfect. So I get like where he triggers people the wrong way.
You have never met a millionaire. We studied 10,167 of them. 0 of them, precisely 0, said, I borrowed money on my car and arbitraged it into being a millionaire. 0 real millionaires do that. 0. None.
But frankly, I listen to his stuff every single day. Like, he's a huge influence on my life. I really like him, and his book, Entre Leadership, I just really, really like it. It's practical. It's a practical business book, which a lot of us didn't go to school for business. I certainly didn't. So it's just helpful like in filling those practical gaps. And it teaches you how to be a good leader, which is important. 10X rule. I almost didn't put this one in here. Like there's If I were to summarize this book, it'd be like, do 10 times what you're doing and you'll be successful, which I actually kind of really like, because I think that like, we're like, oh, I'm not getting leads. It's like, well, if you 10x whatever you were doing, you would get leads. Oh, I'm not making money as fast as I would like to. But then I'm like, well, how long are you working in your business? And they're like 3 hours a week. I'm like, well, you might need to work more than 3 hours a week if you want a full-time income. He basically says it's the only difference between success and failure. And I don't think I'm the smartest person in the room at all. I don't think I'm the most savvy person in the room at all. I just think I work 10 times harder than most people. And that's why I've not just hit $1 million run rate, but I've maintained it for over 2 years now. This book, The Obstacle is the Way, super near and dear to my heart. I really believe that the obstacle is the way. Like, this summarizes my life philosophy. The things we avoid, the things we push back on, the things that the good things we need to do for our success are actually how we're happy. A little example of it, right, was like when we first got our puppy, Charlie, it was so much more overwhelming than we thought it was going to be. Like, no joke, I had no idea I've never had a pet before. So I had no idea the work that was involved to potty train a puppy, for example. And he has to be taken out. Remember, we're on the top floor where we live. So in order for him to go out to the bathroom, like, we take him all the way down, like, all the stairs. And it's 2 a.m. I'm up in the middle of the night, taking this little boy on his little pee run. And everything in my body wanted to like be in my warm bed and not do it. And yet my happiness was through embracing, learning how to take care of this puppy. It's the same thing in business. Your happiness is not in procrastinating on the sales calls you need to have. It's going and doing the sales calls. Your happiness is not in avoiding rejection by procrastination. It's doing the thing that you know you need to do. The obstacle is the way. Predictable revenue. This one is really, really good, but it's also like, at least for me, my mind glazed over reading this one. This was like a very heavy read. It's basically all about sales and like sales at scale. So this is especially relevant if you're, getting some sales on a consistent basis. Maybe you're starting to think about like, what if other people could do sales for me? It basically illustrates most people don't make it past here. If you can get past here, there's a lot of growth. I would describe my business somewhere right here, right? So it's like most people never get past this point. I'm kind of in the midst of the fire right now. That's where we're hoping to be in like 2 years. So really, really like this book. That's a good one. And then finally, if you are in a 9-to-5 job right now, you've got to read this book. This book will help you rethink things like job security, why you're working for a paycheck, et cetera, et cetera. Robert Kiyosaki is another guy that like a lot of people have like opinions on, and I get it. But this, if you just look at this information in this book alone, super, super helpful. Now, what I'm gonna do is share 3 books that kind of had a lot of hype, or everybody's reading them at one point, or I just frankly think you can kind of skip. First one is this book, Influencer, Tedx Your Marketing Branding. I did not think that it was super helpful. I felt it was like pretty obvious stuff. It's like, hey, if you want to become an influencer, create content. This one I actually recommended when I first started reading it. And I think I recommended it to like 100 people. Like, I recommended this. I got so many people reading this book. But the more I read, this is why you shouldn't recommend books before you finish them. The more I read, I realized it's just the same concept repeated again. This book should have been like a 30-second reel, which is focus on the gain, the positive, versus the gap, the negative. The more you focus on the positive in your life, the less negative things you have, or the less negative things affect you. That's literally the whole book. Focus on the gain, don't focus on the gap. There you go, save you some time. Finally, this book, I was super excited about this book. I'm like, ooh, I'm so excited. Like, this is a cool title. It looks cool. It was recommended to me. This was just the dumbest thing I've ever read. It was like imagining having to sit and listen to an old man share every story about his life, and you're not interested, and you don't know why you're there, and you just can't get away. That's how this book was like that. I kept reading because I'm like, all right, when is he going to get to the practical information? It wasn't. This guy was like, it wasn't helpful to me. Again, other people might find helpful. Wasn't super helpful to me. If I were to pick one book for you to start, it's so hard because they're all so good. Whoa. They're all so good. I honestly would pick Dollars Flow to Me easily, because when you have money coming to you on a regular basis and you understand the foundational stuff, which is the mindset stuff, everything else, all these other things, right? Like this concept of your cash flow quadrant, for example, like it stacks. This concept of building a good sales team, it stacks. Concept of even like the obstacle is a way, it stacks because you understand the basic foundations. So this book, I recommended it like a billion times. If I were to start with any one of them, I would start with this. I swear to God, I think it's like $9 on Amazon. Like it is so cheap. Cannot recommend it enough. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate you being here. If you like this video, be sure to like it. If you haven't already subscribed, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.